concept of a new world order has been a topic of discussion for many years, with some believing it to be a conspiracy theory and others seeing it as a real threat to individual freedom and sovereignty. One of the alleged tools being used by this supposed new world order to oppress humanity is climate change propaganda. This essay will explore the idea that the Satanic New World Order is utilizing climate change propaganda to manipulate and control the population. Climate change has become a widely accepted issue, with the majority of the scientific community agreeing that human activities are contributing to the warming of the planet. However, some argue that the severity of the issue is being exaggerated and distorted for the purpose of advancing a sinister agenda. According to this perspective, the Satanic New World Order is using climate change propaganda to create a sense of fear and urgency, which can be leveraged to impose draconian measures on the population and strip them of their rights and freedoms. One of the primary ways in which climate change propaganda is being used to oppress humanity is through the promotion of sustainable development and the green agenda. On the surface, these initiatives appear to be aimed at reducing humanity's impact on the environment and creating a more sustainable future. However, critics argue that they are actually a Trojan horse for the imposition of a one-world government and the eradication of individual sovereignty. The idea of sustainable development is being used to justify the implementation of policies that restrict individual freedom, such as strict regulations on energy consumption, travel, and consumption of resources. Another way in which climate change propaganda is being used to repress humanity is through the manipulation of the media and the education system. The mainstream media is dominated by stories about the dire consequences of climate change and the need for immediate action to mitigate its effects. This has created a sense of panic and hysteria, which is being exploited to push through policies that would not normally be acceptable to the population. Meanwhile, the education system is being used to indoctrinate children with the idea that climate change is the most pressing issue of our time and that they must do their part to reduce their carbon footprint and save the planet. The alleged Satanic New World Order is also using climate change propaganda to promote a radical transformation of the global economy. The idea of a green economy is being promoted as a solution to the environmental crisis, but critics argue that it is actually applied to concentrate wealth and power in the hands of a few individuals and corporations. The green economy is being touted as a way to create new jobs and stimulate economic growth, but in reality, it is likely to lead to widespread unemployment and poverty as traditional industries are dismantled and replaced with new, heavily subsidized sectors. Furthermore, the use of climate change propaganda is also being used to suppress dissent and opposition to the New World Order agenda. Anyone who questions the official narrative on climate change is labeled a denier or a skeptic, and is often subjected to ridicule and intimidation. This has created a culture of fear, where people are afraid to speak out against the prevailing orthodoxy, and where dissent is not tolerated. This is a classic tactic of totalitarian regimes, where opposition is crushed through a combination of propaganda, intimidation, and coercion. In conclusion, the idea that the Satanic New World Order is using climate change propaganda to oppress humanity is a complex and multifaceted issue. While the threat of climate change is real, it is being exaggerated and distorted for the purpose of advancing a sinister agenda. The promotion of sustainable development, the manipulation of the media and education system, the transformation of the global economy, and the suppression of dissent are all being used to create a sense of fear and urgency, which can be leveraged to impose draconian measures on the population and strip them of their rights and freedoms. It is essential to approach this issue with a critical and nuanced perspective, and to be aware of the potential for manipulation and deception.